Welcome back into another edition of the Section YY podcast. I'm Negative Niece, joined by Harb. We are fresh off our return from beautiful Pawleys Island, South Carolina, from the Straw Plains Open Invitational. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. Harbin, have you recovered?
Yeah, I feel brand new. Uh, it was pretty much like an oil change getting away from work for 4 or 5 days. Then reality slapped me in the face once I got back, but that's just fine. We made more memories, and it was another successful year for the golf trip.
Great trip, but this week at work has absolutely sucked. It has been awful.
It's been so bad.
It's been bad. I don't know about everybody else that went, what their week's been like, but mine has stunk. Just a lot going on, and I wish I was playing golf. I wish I was getting sunburned and sweating and getting rained on
What?
and watching people miss golf balls when they try to swing. But we'll talk about that later. What could that mean? So big show. We're not going to play around here. A lot going on this episode. We've got Tennessee versus Arkansas super regionals this weekend. We'll talk about how the Vols got out of the Knoxville regional. Now they're heading to Fayetteville. Lady Vols came up short in the Women's College World Series out there in Oklahoma City. Made it to the Final Four. At least somebody from Tennessee can get to the Final Four. We'll talk about that. Obviously, the aforementioned Straw Plains Open Invitational. That was this past weekend in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. We'll talk about what it was like, our experiences, maybe not all of it, but maybe most of it. A little bit, a little bit.
A little bit.
But we'll talk about that. Maybe do a quick opinion poll between me and Harbin of two athletes at Tennessee currently on teams, and maybe who's better, in our opinion. But we'll talk about that later on. First up, I secured a big interview for the show, slid into this guy's DMs, and he agreed to come on. Tennessee's newest baseball commitment, Tyler Myatt. Not Myatt, but Myatt. I made that mistake earlier today in my own head. I kept calling him Myatt. Obviously, we know Jake Myatt, David Myatt, all the other Myatts from around here. So he is not a Myatt. He is a Myatt, Myatt. He came on the show. Obviously, Tennessee, as I mentioned, their newest baseball recruit. Played at Walter State the past 2 years. Claiborne County High School alum. So local boy, getting to wear the orange and white coming up here, starting in the fall. But talked with him a little bit about why he chose UT, how he got to where he was at, what his summer looks like, all that good stuff coming up on the show. It was a great interview, Harb.
Yeah, it was an awesome interview. Really good, polite kid, confident, but not full of himself. He's very humble. I think y'all are going to enjoy it. It was a lot of fun doing it with him.
I think it's the first podcast he's been on. I know he's done some interviews, but I think we're the first podcast he's been on. Maybe.
We are a top five.
Top five.
We are top five.
Top
According,
five.
according to one source.
Top five podcasts, according to one source. Top seven overall. So it's top 10 overall, top five in a category.
That's right. Yep.
So,
Hanging back.
anyways, let's get right down to it, Harb. Coming up here, Tyler Myatt, Tennessee's newest baseball recruit. All right, as we mentioned just a minute ago, welcome into the podcast tonight. Tyler Myatt, Tennessee baseball's newest commit. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well. Appreciate you coming on. I know it's been a whirlwind past 2 or 3 days with the commitment, and sure a lot of people have been calling wanting to talk to you about it, but appreciate you coming on here. But excited to hear your story, how you got here, and why you chose UT, and where you're going.
Work. I'm excited to. A lot of people don't know some of the real stuff, but I'm excited to say it.
Gotcha. Well, we'll come right out of the gate here. You chose Tennessee. Obviously, you're a local guy. What you had offers from a couple big powerhouses, LSU, Texas A&M, were two of them.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about Tennessee that led you to choose the Volunteers?
The big one, it's home, and I would say the biggest thing is every time Tennessee showed up to watch me, good things happened. Like Coach V came to watch me in one of the big conference games, and I hit 2 home runs. The first two at bats he saw, and then he left. He had to go get on a plane, and that sold him on me when he showed up, and I did that in front of him. And then Coach Kibb came to watch me, and then I went 4 for 4 that game. Then Coach Elander came to watch me in the tournament, hit a home run. Like every time they showed up, something good happens. And I'm a big believer in signs, where I'm a Christian guy, and every time they showed up, like it was good.
Nice. Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, when you get a good feeling about something and it keeps happening over and over, it's like, and you got to pay attention to it. So that's awesome. Um, so tell us about your game a little bit. Obviously, some people have probably read about you recently. Um, they'll know that you're a 448 hitter at Walter State, 31 homers, 110 RBIs. But what's your game like? What do you model your game after, or who does your game possibly mirror?
You know, I really like the way that Harper plays. I don't try to model my game after anybody, just kind of do it myself. But I really like the way that Harper plays. Can hit the big home run whenever, can always get his team back in it. He's always exciting to watch, whether he's kind of arguing with somebody or he's trying to hype his team up. But the competitive side of me is definitely up there, probably above a lot of people.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I heard about you recently, saw, but I mean, you've really jumped onto the scene with your power game from the left side, and I obviously you'll hopefully fit in at Lindsey Nelson Stadium with that type of swing and that type of power.
Oh yeah, the right field
Was
porch.
that a draw for you, the home ballpark at Lindsey Nelson Stadium?
Yeah, it was. I actually got to take BP there my senior year of high school with the Royal Scout team, and that's the first time I really got to let some balls go, and it just they go whether you if you hit them good or you barely miss them.
Yeah. I noticed this year being I was a season ticket holder this year, the wind blew in from right to left quite a
Yeah.
bit. So if you can hit the other way, get it up in that jet stream, it's going to fly. The ones to right field were a little bit tougher, it
Right.
seemed like, than in years past. But yeah, when I saw your numbers, thought of Lindsey Nelson State, I was like, man, this guy might be a perfect fit for that ballpark.
Oh yeah. I'm
Harb, you got any questions for him?
Yeah, I do. First of all, I just want to say, anytime a local guy that grew up a Tennessee fan, anytime they commit to UT, I always kind of root for them a little extra because I mean we're both Straw Plains guys. Obviously, grew up UT fans. Uh, that's always a cool little added touch to it. There's been a few come in various sports, but I do have a extremely hard hitting question for you. Coming from a guy that lived in Jefferson City for 5 years, what are you going to miss most about Morristown?
Ooh.
It's got to be
Personally,
it's got to be a
personally,
key to.
personally, mine was good old days.
I really like good old days. We went there probably once a week.
Yeah.
Like ever since, because some of us didn't know it was there. So one day we got tired of going everywhere else, and we ended up passing it. The first time we ate there during the fall, we went there every week.
Yep. Yep. That was us. I think we kept that Applebee's in business when I was in college at Carson Newman.
Oh yeah,
And I think we paid good old days lot bill. So,
yeah. We went to Chili's a lot all the time.
oh yeah, yeah, yep, we did too. So,
I thought he might say Akita.
oh, there is an IKEA. I forgot about that.
There is, yeah. I actually got that
Akita,
today.
the Japanese restaurant.
Yeah, I actually just
Oh,
got that.
I was
Really?
about to say there ain't a damn IKEA. I was just
No, not in Morristown. No, no. When I worked in Morristown, I used to eat at Akita,
Akita,
Akita.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, Akita.
yes. So a great Japanese hibachi. Really, it's kind of a to-go place.
Yeah,
So
it is now. Most people don't really go in and eat no more.
no, there's a handful will go in and eat every now and then. But um, so what? Tennessee, or you were at Walter State, obviously not Tennessee.
Yeah.
Just went to the JUCO World Series. What was that like? Finished second. unfortunately. Couldn't get it done, but came up just a tad short. But Walter State has a long history of going to this event, um, national powerhouse. But what was it like for you this year going out there?
It was an awesome experience. Had to get used to the air a little bit. A lot of us couldn't breathe up there, but we got up there a week early. Went to like the Grand Mesa and saw the monuments and stuff like that. That was probably I would have to say it's the best part. But
Nice.
getting to play in front of almost 13,000 people, the last three games were awesome. The fans up there, that town really supports us no matter win or lose. Like a lot of the kids in it, they knew me obviously because the numbers and stuff, but they supported, like they knew our bullpen catcher's name, they knew our trainer, our photography guy. Like they knew everybody, and they wanted pictures and everything with us. That was probably the best part, was just the fans. But playing in the championship game, we wish we would have won, but it was just all around so good.
Harbin?
Another thing, growing up in Claiborne County, I grew up in Granger County, so I feel like it's fairly comparable.
Oh yeah.
Um, how how cool is it being one of the few from Claiborne County to actually achieve being a D1 athlete? Uh, I don't want to boost your ego too much, but kind of being the man from your hometown,
Yeah.
just having the support of the whole community behind you, because Claiborne County is kind of like any other rural county in East Tennessee. Like anytime somebody does anything good, the whole community is behind them. So how's that felt the last couple days?
It feels really good. Some of it was a little overwhelming just because some of the people I haven't really talked to in years are actually getting back to me. That part that's the sucky part about some of this. But most of all, like I'm gonna try my best to show kids that it is doable no matter where you're from. I mean, you just gotta put your head down and work. But hopefully, I can give a lot back to the community, the good or bad that comes out of this, and show them that everything is possible no matter what.
Absolutely.
So what has UT said during the recruiting process and now after your commitment? Have they told you where you might play? I know looking at your profile and looking at some of your stats and highlights, your infield, you can play outfield. Have they mentioned to you about where you might play on the field?
Yeah, so they're gonna let me come in as a utility, and obviously, if I keep hitting the way I do, I'm just gonna fill in wherever I need to. But I'm gonna go in trying to play second base or corner outfield. Try
What's
some.
your preferred position?
Definitely second base right now.
Second base. That's where you played most of the season?
Yeah, but high school I was mainly like in the outfield and stuff. But I'm gonna try my best to stay at the infield if I can.
Gotcha. What plans for this summer? You got anything on the docket as far as summer league ball?
Yeah, so I'm playing a couple weeks in the Appalachian League, and then I'm going to the Cape in July.
Do you know where you're playing in the Appalachian League yet, or have they
Uh, yeah, Kingsport Axman.
Kingsport? Cool, gotcha. Yeah, for those that don't know, the Appalachian League used to be the low A minors. Randy Boyd Sports purchased it, has turned it into a summer collegiate league for underclassmen, basically freshmen and sophomore, where the Cape Cod is for your juniors and seniors. So that's awesome. You're getting to dabble in both this summer. A lot of good ball players have played in both of those leagues.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it. I got to play there last year, but didn't do too good. But I'm excited to go back and do the best I can.
Gotcha. Able to catch any of the regional? I know you all were probably out of town, but thoughts on Tennessee winning the regional and heading to Arkansas this weekend?
I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. We'll try that again.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
all of that cut out. All we got was did you get to catch and then it cut out?
So
Yeah.
let's start. I'm on that internet, Harbin. I'm on that bad internet here in Straw Plains. So as far as watching the Vols this past weekend, I know you guys were out in Grand Junction at the JUCO World Series. Did you get to watch any of the Vols in the regional? What was your thoughts about that? And
Oh
what's your
yeah.
thoughts about them playing the Hawgs this weekend?
I'm excited about it, especially getting to for them getting to go back there and competing. I heard it's very tough to play there, especially as I don't think Tennessee's done too good going there the past couple of years. But you know, I'm hoping that they play like they did that last game against Wake Forest and just go ball out.
Yeah, I don't think Harb, you might know this, correct me if I'm wrong. They have not won a series in Fayetteville since 2001.
Right.
Uh,
It's
not
crazy.
been our best place.
No, it's been that long. I do like the momentum that we've kind of started during the postseason, though. Getting a couple games together in the SEC tournament, and then obviously winning 3 out of 4 in the regional. Uh, we've already been there once, and it wasn't that long ago. It was about a month ago. So we got momentum on our side. We'll see how it goes.
Last question for me, Tyler. What Coach Vitello, Coach V, you mentioned him earlier. What's he like on a personal one-on-one level? Not just maybe a coach, but maybe just just a person like talking to him.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be like this, kind of like a business guy on my visit when I got to meet with him. But, I don't think we really talked about baseball the first 30 minutes. We were talking about like Morgan Wallen and just some of them guys that, I listen to all the time. And like the stuff that I'm into, like kind of like hunting and fishing, but like it was so down to earth and just a good guy all around.
It's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
he seems like a common guy. Hanging except for hanging out with Morgan Wallen and Peyton Manning and all those guys. But yeah, I mean, you can tell from a lot of the interviews he does, he'd be a cool guy just to hang out with.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Harb, anything else from you?
No more questions. Just wanted to say thanks for coming out here, talking to us for a minute. We look forward to pulling for you for the next few years on campus, especially pulling for a local boy. We know you've had a long day, so we're going to get out of your hair here. But just appreciate you. If you have anything else to add, closing out, go for it. If not, appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys. I'm glad we got to do this before the summer started.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm season ticket holder now. I mentioned earlier, this was my first year, so should be back next year. We were in section 216 this year on the third base side, so don't know where I'll be next year, but we'll keep in touch. Maybe hook up at a game or something, and looking forward to watching you play over the next couple years for the Vols. Maybe just one. I don't
Yeah,
know. We'll see.
yeah.
Maybe that if it's just one, that's awesome.
Hey, as long as we go to Omaha, we'll be good. That's my goal.
Yeah,
That's right.
Made
yeah.
it to one national championship. Now I just got to make it to the other.
I got to go last year to the championship series, and it was awesome. If you've never been, just as a fan, you got to go. But I can't imagine what it's like as a player getting to go to that atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, especially getting to play in front of so many people. And Vols fan travels. They travel so well, no matter where it is. There's always orange out there.
It was absolutely crazy being out there because Charles Schwab Field was basically split. A&M fans showed up too. I mean, you got to
Yeah,
give them credit. But it was basically split 50-50. Maybe a tad more Tennessee fans out there, but it wasn't much. But yeah, definitely
yeah,
awesome atmosphere, and hope you guys have a successful season next year and get to go there. Hopefully they go this year.
yeah. Hopefully,
Keep the
go this
streak
year.
alive.
Yeah, for real. Hope so.
Tyler, appreciate you coming on, taking time to visit with us, and good luck.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Hey, thank you, Tyler.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Cool.
All right, appreciate Tyler coming on and sitting down with us. I I was curious to talk to him, Harb, about what position he plays because you and I were talking about before we started recording. Uh, Different websites listed him as third base, shortstop, second base, outfield. They had him basically playing everywhere on the field, but first base, pitcher, and catcher. So he kind of cleared that up a little bit. Where he plays most of the time and what his preferred position was. That was the big thing I wanted to take from it. That and obviously we know Tennessee. I had this conversation the other day with somebody that you and I've talked about this on here even last year. Tennessee baseball is an elite baseball program, correct?
Absolutely. It's not even up for debate.
I was told by this person, no knock on them. It's their opinion. We're all entitled to it. That Tennessee's not an elite program yet. They're great, but it's been such a short time that they're not an elite program. Texas A&M could probably be put in that same category. They've not won a national title, but big program, big budget, won a lot of games the past few years, and then you got LSU in there. Obviously, their resume speaks for itself. All those national titles, all those SEC titles. They play in a 13,000 seat stadium, and you got all that coming at you. It's hard to not look at that. But for him to choose Tennessee, it didn't really sound like it was ever in doubt that he was coming here, especially being from where he was. It's like when Jordan Bowden, when we talked to him, Tennessee came calling, he was going, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it's always a little bit more fun to pull for a local guy, that grew up being a Tennessee fan and got to achieve pretty much every kid's dream in East Tennessee of putting on the orange and white. So real happy for him, and I look forward to pulling for him.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I was little, 6, 7 years old, and I'm shooting a basketball, I thought, oh, I'm gonna get to play in Thompson Bowling Arena because I thought I was good. That reality hit really quick when you get to middle school that you're not you're not the best. I wasn't the best at East Knox anymore. Probably wasn't going to UT. I went to UT just not to play. I gave
Your
him my
jersey,
money to learn.
your jersey could be in the rafters at East Knox, though.
Maybe, maybe one day.
If they ever start doing that, I would say you're one of the first few with a naturally gifted athlete that you are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know that anybody I know would ever see it, but I am a Cougar alum or Buckeye or Tiger. I don't know what they are.
They're the
I think
Cougs.
the Cougars.
They're the Cougs.
But when I was growing up, they were also the Buckeyes. On the wall pad at East Knox in the gym, it had Buckeyes on it. But then there was also the East Knox Tigers. So we didn't know. We were all turned around. All right, what are we? A Tiger, a Cougar, or a Buckeye? They've settled on Cougars, apparently. Which is a nice, it has a nice ring to it. East Knox Cougars,
It does.
for those that are wondering. Or were ever wondering. Um we will talk about first, Harb, the Super Vols or the Straw Plains Open Invitational.
Let's get to the stuff that matters. Let's talk about the Super Bowls.
Okay. Straw Plains Open Invitational, we'll push it back just a little bit. Not that it doesn't matter, but bigger story on the horizon here. Tennessee traveling to Arkansas, but it took them a little bit of work to get out of Knoxville Regional, Harb. We watched the first couple games down in Pawleys Island at the Straw Plains Open Invitational. Tennessee didn't really have much trouble in those games against Cincinnati, or sorry, against Miami, Ohio, and then against Cincinnati. But then they had to play Wake Forest. And Wake Forest, I had to educate some people who were all up in arms. Like, here we go again. This team ain't even seeded. This team ain't ranked. Wake Forest is a very, very good baseball program. If you're under a rock and don't follow college baseball, they are very good. They had 3 of the top 10 picks last year in the Major League Baseball draft. Now, granted, one of them was born and bred in Tennessee and developed by us, but we don't claim him no more. He decided to jump ship and Chase Burns. But that program had 3 of the top 10 picks in Major League Baseball draft. They've been to Omaha in the past. They've been in the NCAA tournament several years in a row. So this is not a mid-major Johnny-come-lately program. This is a very good program, well coached, tough team to beat. And Tennessee had to fight and claw. I thought Tennessee, and I don't know what you got to watch of it Sunday and Monday hard, but yeah, they lost on Sunday. But I thought this whole weekend, and even going back to the SEC tournament, not counting the Vandy game, I think they're playing some of their best baseball of the season right now. which is perfect timing.
Yeah, that game on Sunday, from a viewership standpoint, from an entertainment standpoint, was one of the better games of the season. Personal opinion. Uh, Now, as a Tennessee fan, it was frustrating, but just objectively looking at a baseball game, you got a little bit of everything in that one. Uh, Tennessee jumps out early. We had some fielding errors, kind of a recurring theme. Wake Forest gets up 6-2. We claw back, we get two, and then believe was it Fisher that hit the home run to tie it?
On Sunday or
Yeah.
Monday?
No, I know he hit one on Monday. Anyway, there's a home. We hit a two-run bomb to tie
It
it.
was him. He tied it.
Okay, and I believe that was the seventh inning.
Maybe.
Yeah, and
I can't
then
remember. Last weekend was a blur, Harbin.
yeah, it was. Uh, Obviously, the ending didn't go as planned. We walk in the game-winning run, which leads me to my next point. And this just isn't because Tennessee lost. This is something I've felt strongly about for years. If you host a regional or a super regional, you should bat in the bottom of the inning.
Where you're going?
Every single game, there's a pitch thrown.
Yes.
It's the most ridiculous rule, and if the host team's not playing, the higher seed, or yeah, the higher seed should be the home team. It doesn't seem that hard to me. If you earn the right to host a regional, you should at least get to bat in the bottom half of the inning every time. And it's so dumb how they do it, especially in super regionals when it's 2 out of 3. Let's say the away team wins the first game and then they get to bat in the bottom half. Now I know we're about to go to Fayetteville, and if we do steal game one and we get to bat in the bottom half, obviously it favors us for game two if it comes down to that. That's kind of ridiculous. I have
It
no.
is. We've said that, and everybody said this for years. I understand the logic behind it,
I
if
don't.
you can say. I mean, I don't like it. Let me get that out there. I understand what they're doing because they're trying to be fair and equitable, but that's BS, Harb. They can't. They shouldn't be doing that. You earned the seed for a reason, and you should be rewarded for that. And Tennessee was the road team twice in their own ballpark this weekend.
Yeah, that's so insane to me. If it's
It's
in your ballpark,
ridiculous.
you're batting in the bottom half of the inning, and that's all I've got to say about it. That's just it feels too common sense.
LSU had to play Little Rock on Monday night at Alex Box Stadium after Tennessee beat Wake Forest. I couldn't stay up and watch it. They were tied at the time. They were the road team in their own stadium in game 7. I mean, I don't care. I was kind of hoping LSU would lose, but
But it is ridiculous.
it's ridiculous. Like that is not. They want to talk about fair. I mean, that is not fair.
The fact that the number 6 team in the country was batting in the top half of every inning against a team that has a losing record in a win or go home game, which all the credit to Little Rock. They got extremely hot in their conference tournament and they earned their right to be there and they were playing great baseball. Nothing away from them. But when you boil it down to that, it sounds so damn stupid saying it out loud.
It
Like,
is. I can't stand it.
I know it's a very minute thing, and it probably won't change, but it's so dumb to me.
I hate it.
I really
I
don't even
can't stand it.
I really don't even get the logic behind it. I really don't.
You know, I obviously work City Parks and Rec, and we host the adult baseball Ed Bailey League at historic Ridley Hilton Field, Old Bill Meyer Stadium. And we do our tournament. We have 8 teams in the league. So we do a similar College World Series tournament. If you're the higher seed throughout the whole tournament, you are the home team, with the exception if you have lost a game and you're coming out of the losers bracket and you're playing, say you're the 1 seed and you're playing the 3 seed in that bracket's finals, and you have a loss and they have zero, then they're going to be the home team because they're undefeated. That's fair. But then when we do a championship series, and it is never alternating home and away. It's like one versus two, one seed's the home team, all 3 games, if that's how many they play.
Well, and I think the best point of it is when you get into conference play and you play 3-game series, the road team does not get to be the home team in
No.
game 2 ever in any conference.
It was funny last year. Some of the guys that play in that league are so burned from watching college baseball in the postseason. They came up to me and said, "Are we the home team in the game too?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, we didn't know because they alternate in college." I was like, "We're not doing that here. That's ridiculous. Not happening." Um, we mentioned with Tyler a few minutes ago when we were talking to him that Tennessee hasn't won in Fayetteville in baseball since 2001. We obviously went out there this year, and I say win a series. We've won games, just not the series. We won the, I called it the Friday game, but it was the Thursday game, game 1 of the series out there earlier a few weeks ago, earlier in the season. But Tennessee's not won a series in Fayetteville since 2001. What better time to break that curse, if you want to call it, or streak than this weekend? Can Tennessee go to Fayetteville? And if you look at the bracket, Tennessee kind of got the short end of the stick here a little bit because there's been a ton of upsets in college baseball. And you've got, what is it? I think the other big marquee matchups, Coastal Carolina going to Auburn. That's a pretty big series. Tennessee's obviously at Arkansas, probably the marquee series of the weekend. But then you've got Murray State going to Duke, and both good baseball teams, but it kind of stinks for Tennessee and Arkansas too. And you could say throw Auburn and Coastal Carolina in there. They're having to play really good opponents. Not that these others aren't, but I'm talking about seeding wise. I got a text earlier today. It's like, why don't they reseed the super regionals? I was like, well, it's like they don't reseed the NCAA basketball tournament. And this is basically the same setup. So, um, all that being said, Tennessee's got a really tough matchup this weekend. Harbin, can they go to Fayetteville and pull it off?
They can. And semicolon, I kind of disagree with what you said. We didn't draw the short end of the stick. Arkansas did.
Yes, I love it.
But in all seriousness, there is no short end of the stick. We knew this is how it's been for years. We knew that if we made it out, we were getting the winner of the Fayetteville Regional. And I'm going to be dead ass honest with you. I think them boys were wanting Arkansas to come out of it. Because they know about the streak. They know about their fans. They know, like, there's a little bit of bad blood there. Like, we just went there, we went there, what, a month ago? Ish, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. Dropped 2 out of 3. These boys know for a fact they can get 2 out of 3 from them. And I think they're even hungrier that they get a rematch with a team like Arkansas. So yeah, I don't think we drew the short end of the stick. I think we got the draw we wanted.
Who, in your opinion, who do you think has more pressure on them this weekend, Arkansas or Tennessee?
I think it's Arkansas, honestly. Arkansas is kind of known for being really good and not getting to Omaha. They've made it, what, once in the last few years?
They've been a handful of times, but the last big one they went to was
3 or 4 years ago.
28. Was it 2018 or 2019 when Oregon State won? But they were up 1-0 and were up 3-2 in the ninth and got a pop fly into foul territory with 3 Hogs around it, and none of them caught it. ball hit the ground. Oregon State tied the game, ended up going ahead and winning that game too, and winning game 3. And Arkansas has never really, I don't think they've been back since.
But either way, objectively, Arkansas is the one with the pressure on them, especially with Vandy and Texas getting knocked out of their own regionals. The 1 and 2 national seeds. Arkansas is the number 3 national seed. Just based off of good old Carter math, that leaves them as the highest seed remaining. So yeah, all the pressure's on them. And if you look at it from an Arkansas fan standpoint, you're like, well, Vandy and Texas are out of it. We have as good a chance as anybody. We're probably the favorite to finally get a national championship. And we're playing a team that we already took 2 out of 3 from in our home stadium, and we get them coming back again. So they should be confident. If the roles were reversed, we'd be extremely confident right now. Would you agree with that?
Well, I would think so.
Yeah. But that is also why all the pressure's turned around on them. If Tennessee loses, this is not a failure of a season. Obviously, we've kind of gotten to the point where we're semi-spoiled when it comes to Tennessee baseball. But we're the only, of the last 5 years, we're the only team to reach 4 or more super regionals of the last 5 years, and we've made it to all 5.
Yeah.
The next closest, there's a handful with 3. Super regionals in a weird, and this is gonna sound cocky way, but I don't mean it in that way. Super regionals is kind of our floor right now, and
it is.
Yeah, and if we do drop 2 out of 3, am I going to be upset? Yes, like we're all going to be upset because nobody likes losing. If you do, you're a loser. But it's not a failure of a season. I remember when conference play started, we talked about the last 5 defending national champions and how they finished. I hate to kind of compare it to the rest of them, but we're already kind of on track to have one of the best defending national champion seasons of the last couple of years.
We are.
I'm not a moral victory guy. I fully expect and want us to go to Arkansas and whoop their ass. But if we don't, we don't. They're a very good baseball team.
We are the best defending national champion as far as how the next season has played out since Oregon State in 2019. They had a pretty successful run as defending national champs there the next season. The rest of them, we mentioned it a few weeks ago on one of the shows. Mississippi State didn't make the tournament. Ole Miss didn't make the tournament. LSU last year was all right. They were, made it to the Supers, but they had to fight and claw to get there. They were not a national seed. Tennessee checked all the boxes this year. Was it as a great of a season as it was last year? No, but they've still done a lot of really good things. And I don't want to really get into this right now, but I think it's a good topic maybe after the season's over to talk about, or, once the season concludes. And maybe we don't even have to have this conversation, but say they lose in Arkansas this weekend. I was told by one person who may or may not be listening to this show that it's a failure after winning the national title if you don't even get to Omaha the next year. I don't agree with that because not many people do. I mean, the last defending national champion was South Carolina 14 or 15 years ago. Before that, it was Oregon State 3 or 4 years before that. And then you had to go all the way back into the mid-90s when it was either Texas or LSU did it. So I'm not saying those teams didn't go to Omaha. I don't know if they did or not. I'm just saying Tennessee's basically in the Sweet 16. There's 16 teams left playing. And if you get to Omaha, there's obviously 8 left. But it's really, really hard to get there. And I don't know that you can sit there and say, well, this season was fantastic, but I don't think you can sit there and say it was a failure. I mean, Tennessee did a lot of good things. Did we hang a banner? No, if we lose. But that, You still won 47, 48 ball games. You won way more than you lost. You were one of the final 16 teams playing. You lost to a really good opponent. It's a pretty good season in my book.
I don't like how this sounds like a eulogy.
No, and I'm just saying, if this conversation was brought up to me the other day, and I don't understand that line of thinking. But
I don't either.
obviously, we don't even have to have that conversation if Tennessee wins this weekend, which I'm
No,
very hopeful they do. Don't get me wrong, I am.
I'm actually confident that we will. I'm not saying we're going to sweep them and run roll them every game or 2 games, but I do really like where we're at right now. It's like I mentioned in the interview with Tyler. You finally get a couple games in a row against quality opponents with Alabama and Texas. And then you obviously lose to Vanderbilt. But then you take care of business in the regional. You get 3 out of 4. You lose a very top ball game to a very good Wake Forest team, and then you come back and get it done on Monday. We're 5-2 in our last 7, and that may not sound like much, but that's our best stretch since
Early April,
2 months ago.
Yeah.
So if you're a momentum person like I am, piss on analytics. I'm a momentum guy. Momentum is in our favor.
Yes.
And it's the first dose of momentum and really adrenaline we've had since conference play started, or ever since we swept Florida for the most part. And I think with an emotional group of guys that are led by an emotional head coach, I think that factors in way more than spreadsheets do. Because we've obviously I think if you break down the talent for Arkansas and Tennessee objectively, I think it's fairly similar. Arkansas may be a little bit more talented. Hell, we may be a little bit more talented. I would give the nod to Arkansas. They've earned it this year. But you give a group of guys like this some confidence, they can achieve anything. And that's what we've thrived off of for the last 5 to 6 years is confidence and maybe talking a little bit of smack every once in a while and backing it up. And I feel like we finally got a jolt of momentum, especially with Liam Doyle coming in and shutting the door on Monday. By the way, I fully agree with Blake Burke, build the damn statue. If he don't want to pay for all of it, I'll donate 5%. Love that guy, the psycho.
He's a man. We got a text from Chad Grubbs like, why didn't y'all tell me that this maniac pitched for UT?
But that performance on Sunday by God, his name's escaping me. The lefty came in through 100 and something pitches on back-to-back days.
Liam Doyle.
No, on Sunday
for Tennessee.
Yeah, he came in the second and threw to like the 8th inning.
Arvidsson? Aardvark's what I called him in Pauley's Beach.
Yeah, I mean,
couldn't think of his name.
That dude battled his rear end off. He had 12 or 13 strikeouts in 6 innings.
Gave up a 2-run home run early, and then after that, he was locked down for the next 4 or 5 innings.
He was awesome. That performance had me all the way fired up. Shout out to that young man. We got a group of dogs, and when you get those emotions it brings out the best in them. And I think that's where we're at right now. So that's why I'm confident going into Fayetteville. And I'm not just saying that to counteract you. I truly am confident that.
Yeah, no, I'm confident. I'm not sitting here like
I'm calling it.
Hold your horses.
I'm calling it. We're gonna go to Fayetteville and bust their ass, and we're going to Omaha straight up.
We win 2 out of 3 or sweep them.
I don't know that much. So we can't get too greedy. We ain't won there in 24 years.
True. A win is a win. Doesn't matter how many games.
We're going back to Omaha. Write it down.
Sweet. Well, I know a couple people that'll be happy about that because they're wanting to go and they're not going to go if Tennessee's not there. Um, Looking at the odds real quick, Harbin. So I'm looking at team odds overall to win the College World Series in Omaha. Not just get there, but win. Top 12 in odds. There are one, two, three, four, five of them eliminated: Ole Miss, Texas, Oregon, Vanderbilt, and Georgia. Of the remaining, so that's one, two, three, four, five. So that means there's, according to my Carter math, that means there's seven left. Tennessee would be third on the list at plus 700 to win the College World Series. LSU's plus 550 and Arkansas's plus 475. So Tennessee and Arkansas are out there next to each other, and they're playing this weekend.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. But then when you go and look at the odds for the series, odds for the series are, and I don't know what site this is from. It says in a Sports Illustrated article. Odds for Tennessee versus Arkansas Super Regional have Arkansas favored at minus 130, while Tennessee is plus 100. Not a very big difference there.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Exactly. So it's going to get good. It's going to be a great series in
Awesome.
Fayetteville this weekend. And hopefully we break Arkansas's hearts again.
It's going to be Martin Scorsese. Absolute cinema.
Before we move on to the Lady Vols, that just popped in my head. We didn't talk about this, and this might be, I don't want to get too long-winded with it. Very quickly, Wake Forest coach got caught on camera with an expletive plus
His alliteration. We'll just call it that.
a slur, we think, maybe.
Alliteration. It was two words that started with the same letter.
There you go. Toward Andrew Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on that? He came out and apologized. Former Tennessee athletic director, who's now at Wake Forest, came out and apologized. Said he talked to the coach. Coach came out and apologized. Quickly, what's your thoughts on that whole situation?
Don't put me on the spot on that.
And if you're afraid to answer, you don't have to.
No, I'm not afraid to answer. Personally, if you've played any type of organized sports in your life, and especially at a high level, I mean, I never played at that type of level, but emotions are high. I'm not going to judge a dude off something he said in the moment. Mm-hmm. That's just my personal opinion. What he said was wrong, and he issued a formal apology, and it felt sincere. No bad blood.
I agree. I mean, I don't think Tennessee fans were even upset about it. You know, they kind of got on him a little bit about it, but I think it's been more media driven. But I was
well, the funniest thing was 30 seconds later, Fisher hit a tank.
Yeah.
That was the poetic justice of the whole thing.
That's his punishment.
Right, yeah. I mean, whatever.
His punishment must be more severe.
Cares. I mean,
well, I tweeted it, and I don't really care for this guy a whole lot, but Wes Rucker was just going on and on. I don't even follow him. I don't know why it keeps popping up on my X feed, but he kept going on and on and on about it, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, well, did you ask him about it in the post-game press conference? I haven't seen any clip of anybody, maybe there's one out there, from the media that ask him about it. Hey, you got caught on camera during the game. What did you say? Why did you say that? No one asked him about it, but yet they're getting on. We had this whole big conversation, not to get into this, but the media will not stand up to these athletes and coaches when it comes to stuff like this. Just ask him the question. It's on him to answer it. They never did that.
What I will say is it's a far worse look when a coach says something like that as opposed to a player, especially at the college level, because he's a grown man. He's, what is he, mid 50s to early 60s? He's somewhere in that general region.
Probably.
He's the grown up in the room. If a 19-year-old says that, he's 19. You know, it is worse that the coach said it, but I don't know. I feel like it's already a non-story, and we already brought it back up.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, the apology was sincere, and I think that should just be the end of that.
Lady Vols fell short in the semifinals in Oklahoma City, Harb. We watched some of it there in Pawleys Island. It was the ninth trip. We haven't talked a lot about the ladies on here, and we should do more of that because they're really good. I don't know that they're an elite program, but they're one of the best in the country. Year in and year out, the Tennessee Lady Volunteers are going to be in contention for the SEC title. They're going to be in contention to go to OKC. They went for the ninth time in school history, and they've been to the championship series before, but came up just a tick short. But great season. Carlin Pickens struck out 306 batters this season, Harb. She got me a lot of free Dr. Peppers at Weigels this year.
Absolutely.
If she got 7 Ks in an inning, or 7 Ks in a game, 7 Ks in an inning would be a record.
That'd be hard to do.
Less the pass ball or something. Um, but anyways, if she got 7 strikeouts in a game, the next day you got a free Coke product at Weigel's. A great program they got going. So I wore it out. But great season from the ladies, Harbin.
Absolutely. I thought the postseason was good too. We caught the majority of that Oklahoma game, which I'm not going to act like a softball expert, but we were up what 3-2? Was it 3-2? There's a runner
3-1.
on. Yeah, it was, okay. It was 3-1 with 2 runners on, 2 outs, if I'm not mistaken.
2 outs.
That girl is one of the best hitters in the country. She had already hit a home run earlier in the game. I get why you don't walk her, but at the same
Tough.
time,
Yeah, you're right.
you get a force out of every single bag, and you make somebody else make the play. I'm not criticizing the decision, just a thinking point. Obviously, hindsight's a lot clearer because she hit that ball about 700 feet to dead center. As soon as it left the bat, there was about 6 of us in the room watching it, and as soon as it hit the bat, we're like, "Yeah, you go ahead and turn the channel." But I didn't get to catch any of that UCLA game. I think you did. What was a lot of the controversy going through that game?
Yeah, so first off, to set all this up, every run that Carlin Pickens gave up in, about said Omaha, in Oklahoma City was off of a home run, which that was crazy to me. Like every run that was scored was batted in via the home run ball. Happened in the UCLA game. It was an elimination game. Tennessee was up the majority of the game. Majority of the game, though, it was tied 0-0. Tennessee, or sorry, tied 2-2. But Tennessee went ahead 4-2 late, and UCLA was once again down to their last out, down to their last strike. They got a runner on first. Next batter up hits a home run. Well, as she's crossing, the girl that hit the home run, as she's crossing home plate, she does not touch home plate. She steps up completely over it in her celebration. And a teammate of hers who was in the on deck circle coming up to bat actually grabbed her and said, "You have to go back and touch the base. You didn't touch it." So she goes back and touches it. In baseball and softball, there's a rule where you cannot be assisted on the base pass, either by a coach or a fellow player, whether that player's on deck circle or in the field. Now, there's this, it gets really hazy and complicated. You get in the weeds on this. And basically, if the girl in front of her that she batted in assisted her to come back, assisted her by basically grabbing her and telling her to go back and touch home plate, she would have been fine. But since the girl that assisted her was not in the game, that's what brought it all up. Well, they go through all this review. Karen Weekly comes out and says, "I'm reviewing it. She didn't touch home plate." And then they went through all this. You could tell something bad was about to. I was sitting here watching it. I was like, they're digging into the rule book because they don't know what to do here. They've never had this happen before. Basically, what they did was they reviewed the play and they were trying to figure out what they could review. And after looking through the rules, we might want to title this episode Appendix G. They get to Appendix G, which says that a player they basically didn't the umpires did not see, which that was a failure on their part live, did not see the girl touch home plate. Well, apparently that's not reviewable according to Appendix G. It's another one of those things, Harb, that happens to Tennessee all the time in different sports that's going to lead to a rule change. Go back to the Music City Bowl in 2011 when North Carolina got what was that penalty they got? A delay a game. And it allowed them basically to stay within field goal range, and they kicked the game winning field goal. If not, or the game tying field goal. If it didn't happen, they were assessed a 5 yard penalty and the clock runs out. Ball game's over. Tennessee wins, which looking back, so what? It's the Music City Bowl. I just know there was a lot of heartburn that night on my end and from people I was with about losing the Music City Bowl to North Carolina. But that's what happened. I mean, that's not the first time. It's not the last time that something like that has happened, and it's got people scratching their heads, and they're going to go back in the off season. They're probably going to review it, no pun intended. And they're probably going to change it to where they can review that because that's something that needs to be reviewable. They basically reviewed it, but they couldn't officially review it. Long story short, crazy, crazy, crazy. But the Lady Vols were able to overcome that and win it in the ninth, I believe, ninth inning. So it's only 7 innings in softball, so they won it in the second extra inning. But from what I've read, Harb, they've got a really good recruiting class coming in via the high school ranks. They've already hit up the portal, got some ladies coming in. Carlin Pickens should be back next year. I think this softball program I don't want to say they're going to be ranked number one to start the season, but I would have to guess they're going to be in the top 5 to start the season next year.
For sure. Yeah, we put up a pretty good fight against Texas. Pickens pitched her butt off again. Offense didn't really get anything going, which that pitcher for Texas is, from what I understand, is the shiznit as well. I mean, we only got 3 hits across the board.
Well, they started their number 2, but as soon as they jumped up 1-0, they brought in the number 1 to finish it.
Yeah, I only caught the tail end of that game. And in the 7th, tried to get something going. The first two batters of the innings, we hit a really hard ball to third and a really hard ball to second, shortstop. They just made 2 good plays. Like the one to third was a line out. The one to short was just a good play, good throw. Can't do a whole lot about that when you hit it hard right at somebody. And the one at short really wasn't straight at her. I mean, she made a very good play, but it is what it is. You had 6 other innings to do it. But don't hang your head, ladies. It was a hell of a season. For the ones that are not seniors, come back and do it again.
They'll be back. They always will be. They might choke. They've done that before, but a lot of programs at Tennessee do that every now and then. So they'll be back next year, I'm sure. All right, Harbin. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I think we're about to say the same thing. Speaking of Carolyn Pickens, I have a question that I brought up to Nice before we started recording. Who's the better pitcher on campus? Carolyn Pickens or Liam Dole?
So it's Carlin, not Carolyn.
Carolyn.
What?
George Pickens.
George Pickens.
Yeah.
That's you brought it up, and I've been thinking about it the whole time we've been on here recording, Harb. I mean, Carlin Pickens is probably the best softball pitcher in the country, and you can argue that Liam Dole is the best collegiate baseball pitcher in the country.
That's why I brought it up. Liam Dole is the number 1 pitching prospect for the MLB draft this summer.
MLB even tweeted about him this afternoon.
Yeah.
The MLB Twitter account even tweeted, they're like, Liam Dole is a madman or a maniac or something.
Yeah, he's the number one pitching prospect in the upcoming draft. And Carlin Pickens is at least top three in the country. She has a very, very, very good argument for number one. A lot of the games we won this season were 2-0, 2-1, 3-2. Like it is kind of wild that we have two two of the top three best pitchers in the country in softball and baseball at the same time.
I'm going to go with Carlin Pickens because she's just because of her longevity. This was her third year playing at Tennessee. And I know Liam's had an outstanding year. Tennessee would not be where they are without him. But this is the only year he's been here. Now Pickens has had to work her way up, and she wasn't the full time starter until last year. And then, a lot of times she wasn't full time starter last year, but she has been dominant this year. She's not had a whole lot of offense behind her. You could say the same thing about Liam Doyle, but I mean, it's a coin flip for me, but I would have to go with Pickens if I had
For
to pick.
for content's sake, I'll take Doyle. Uh, it felt. I mean, we've said this 6 or 7 times. Which baseball and softball are so different as far as pitching goes. Pickens can play every game, damn near, if she wants to. Doyle gets pitched one time a week,
Yeah, maybe
and
sometimes two.
sometimes two. Sure. Well, when the postseason comes around, things change. But in the regular season, he's pitching on Friday 90% of the time. Um, and with the stretch that we hit in the regular season, there was so much pressure on him to throw a gem to get us started in the right direction. And he delivered almost every single time. Now he had a couple outings where he got touched up. But that's going to happen, especially in the SEC. I mean, with the competition you're playing, um, and he's just a damn psycho. I hate to use that term because it's starting to get overused a little bit. But the dude is wild, and I absolutely love it. I mean, the amount of energy that cat brings is admirable in every sense of the word. Um, and you could see the look in his eye when Vitello brought him in Monday night, I believe in the seventh, to close it out against Wake Forest. There was a 0% chance that he was going to even sniff blowing that. Everybody knew it. Everybody in Lindsey Nelson knew it. Everybody that was watching on TV knew it. Dude was,
Wake Forest fans and players probably knew it.
yeah, they were just like,
They
damn.
won't admit it, but they knew.
Yeah, they were like, God, here comes this lunatic in a good way. Um, yeah, it was a zero doubter, and you've got to have a guy or two like that. And thankfully, we've got a few of those. He's obviously the best one, and like I said, he's the number one pitching prospect coming up in the draft. And whoever drafts him, he's got to be a top 10 pick, right?
Oh, I would assume so. Yes.
Maybe top five. I haven't looked at the numbers. I just know he's number one pitching. Whoever gets him's getting a damn dog, and they're going to get 130% effort every time he's out there, and he's going to bring the juice. Tropicana. That's his new nickname. Tropicana Duel. He's bringing the damn juice.
I'm looking here at this was put out by Bleacher Report 15 hours ago. Mock draft 2025 for every first round pick. I don't like that how that reads. We'll look at that and talk about that later on. But yeah, I would
selfishly, I would like for him to tank some of his interviews. Let his draft stock drop just a hair. Still be a first rounder, still be a very good draft pick, and just follow the Boston Red Sox by chance.
on
His
ML
his walkout song is shipping up to Boston, by the way.
on MLB.com. They have him as the number 3 overall draft pick. He is behind the Nationals would draft Ethan Holiday, which is, I believe, Matt Holiday's son.
And Jackson Holiday's younger brother.
Yes. Angels would select left-handed pitcher Jamie Arnold out of Florida State, and the Mariners would take left-handed pitcher Liam Doyle out of Tennessee. He's the number 10 overall prospect, but this mock draft has him going at number 3. I don't see any other volunteers on here in the top 20. Well, we've got, I'm sorry, we've got 3 in the top 27, Harbin. Coming in at number 27, you have Andrew Fisher in this mock draft going to Cleveland Indians. And then you have, Gavin Keelan going to the Minnesota Twins at number 16. Tennessee's still very well represented in the MLB first round, even in a supposed down year.
Heard that. My Red Sox, who are struggling currently, need pitching badly. So if they want to just keep losing and let 2 Vols be their number 1 and number 2 guys in the rotation between Garrett Crochet and Liam Doyle,
There you go.
that'd be a little bit of a dream of mine.
Looks like in this mock draft, the Chicago Cubs, best record in the National League, by the way, would select Tyler Bremner, right-handed pitcher from UT Santa Barbara, the number 17 overall prospect, has 5 double-digit strikeout games in his last 6 starts.
I didn't know Santa Barbara was in Tennessee.
It's not.
It's in California.
In California.
You said UT.
Oh, UC.
Yes.
Santa Barbara. Sorry. There might be a Santa Barbara, Tennessee. I don't know.
Could be.
Might be not incorporated, but it's hard to tell. Harb, last thing on the docket, as we mentioned earlier in the show, you and I and 18 others made our way over to Pawleys Island last Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. It's been a week ago. It's hard to believe that we went over there 1 week ago today. This time last week, we were probably having a spirited debate in somebody's condo about some sports topic. I believe the topic this year was the PGA Tour. Who's better in their prime, Phil Mickelson or who was it? Phil Mickelson or somebody? I can't remember. You may not have been out there when this was going on. It got heated at different points. But anyways, we're back from the Straw Plains Open Invitational. We played, what was it? Some of us played 81 holes. Some of us played 72. But great weekend of golf over there. Caledonia Golf and Fish Club. I highly recommend if you are in that area and want to play golf and can get in, go play that golf course. Fantastic.
It's probably top 3 golf course I've ever played.
I think it was the best golf course I've ever played.
It's that and Grand Dunes, which is also in the Myrtle Beach area. They're right there neck and neck. But yeah, it was awesome. The scenery with the live oaks, with all the Spanish moss on them, the layout. I think tipped out that place is only 6,600 yards, but they make up for it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful too. And there wasn't any stupid golf holes. Like they were just tough, good golf holes.
Challenging, tough golf holes.
Yeah, but they weren't dumb.
No.
They weren't dumb holes.
Not like what was the first official 18 we played on Thursday? Or sorry, on Friday. What was that course?
Was it
Willbrook?
No, that was Friday. Willbrook.
It was the first 18 we played on Friday. On the first tee box, I don't know what your foursome did, but I hit a shot to the right and had a better, more free look at the hole than Chad Grubb, who hit a ball in the middle of the fairway because of this huge tree that is in the middle of the fairway. So you hit a great tee shot out in the middle of the fairway and you're in jail, which is so dumb to me. And when I hit a not a poorly hit ball, but I hit it right off the tee. Was struggling with my driver on Friday, as you witnessed, as we didn't play 18, we played 16 together. But anyways, I had a better look at the green than somebody in the middle of the fairway. I don't think that's right. It's kind of like being the home team has a lower seed in game 2 or 3 or whatever. But yeah, I was not a big fan of that. That course was really tough. There was no one played well on Friday morning. Whether it was because of the golf course or their physical condition, no one played very well on Friday morning.
Physical condition, I dropped the ball Thursday morning. that
There
was
you go.
uh yeah, Wilbrook was tough. I started off bad, but I wrangled it in a little bit, put together a respectable round. Um, my team tied for the win,
Who was
which
on your team?
our team. Sorry, sorry. It's been a long
Yes.
two and a half
Team
days.
3D.
Team 3D tied for the win, which I hate tying. Be honest with you, I'd rather lose,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to money. I remember when Burkhart came up to us and said, "Hey, we tied." I was like, "The hell we did! Let's go back out to 18, play 4-on-4."
Well, we were going to go to True Blue Golf Club and play, but we couldn't get tee times that worked out. We could
Yeah,
have broke the tie there, but we didn't get an opportunity to.
yeah. No, I was fine with it. Be honest with you, I was wore out, and I'm very glad we went to the beach as
Yes, that was awesome.
as a mostly cohesive unit that day. That was, I think 19 of us went to the beach.
Yeah, 19 of us were there. And it was awesome. We played, what was that game called?
I don't know what they called it, but it's
Sandy or something, but it was
sandbar.
basically cornhole in the sand with golf balls.
Yeah, game's super fun. It looks so much easier than what it is.
It was challenging.
Yeah, because I was sitting there watching. I was like, "Oh, I got this down pat," and I got my butt whooped.
It was fun though. I teamed up with Patrick. We took down two dynasties and Drew and Gorman, and then took down Grubb and Bain, who had won a bunch of games in a row. But I I tied twice. So for the first time ever, I finished in the top two individually of this event. I've been going one of the handful that's gone every year, never placed in the money, but played really well for me on Saturday at Caledonia. It was a little hit or miss there, but I had a big chip in on 10 for par, and I went off and running from there. Very tough golf course, like you mentioned earlier. I bogeyed number 16, and I was super pumped about bogeying it, if that makes any sense at all. If you remember that hole, there
You
was
say number
water.
10 or what?
Sorry,
What hole?
number 16
Oh
had
yeah,
it was not a long hole, but it had water in front of it. Um, I ended up about 186 out and had to hit over the water, and that not a very comfortable shot. Ended up going left of the water just a tick. Couldn't get up and down, but had a tap in bogey. I was thrilled to get out of there with a bogey. Standing over that second shot, I was like, this could go a lot of different ways.
yeah. It was a tough hole. I almost went 2012 Bubba Watson on that hole.
Uh-oh.
Hooked my
Out of the
t-ball.
woods?
Yeah, hooked my t-ball left in the woods, and we got up there, and Hayes looked at me and said, "We got a gap." And when he says that, it normally means it's about the size of my laptop. But I actually did have a gap, and when I hit it, I thought I put it within 3 feet. Wind got it, just barely got across the water by about a foot. Got it up and down, ran to the next tee box.
I was in the next to last foursome with Burkhart. It was me, Bill, Burkhart, and Draper. a great group to play with. And Burkhart, me and him were in the same cart, and he looked at me and he said, "Niece, if we finish strong right here, we might finish in the top 3 or 4." Well, little did we know that the group behind us was having some trouble, and the clubhouse leader coming into the day fell off the face of the earth, and Ricky Householder, Rick, opened the door. Burke and I tied for second. It made me think. I was like, man, over the week, if I'd have hit a couple more putts here or there, I might have creeped up there and finished second on my own or got up there in first place. But it was the best I'd played in the final round of the Straw Plains Open Invitational ever. So I was super pumped when Burke told me finish second. I had no idea. He looked at me and he said, "Niece, we just tied for second." I was like, "Are you joking?" He's like, "No, I'm not." We finished second.
Hell, both of y'all pulled what, 7, 6 or 7 on the final day?
I think I pulled 7 on the final day. I
Yeah,
think he pulled 5 or 6. So
that's a hell of a course to do it on.
shot a 79. And I'll say that closing hole was so awesome with the clubhouse in the background. I had a really good tee shot, and I was kind of nervous because I was like, man, there's people up there. I couldn't really see. I was like, man, are they watching us? And I hit a shot, and it was just right off the edge of the green. And I heard some clapping. I was like, man, maybe they are watching. I got up there, it was Paul. Paul was Paul was clapping for everybody in our group that came in. So shout out Paul. Um, Also, I want to give Hayes a shout out. You mentioned him a minute ago. Hayes was struggling Thursday morning. Him and Bain went over, and they did 2 golf trips. They played earlier in the week and then joined us and played with us. But Hayes was struggling on Thursday morning. He was having trouble composing himself, let's just say, but he turned it around on the back, started playing a little bit better. So shout out to him for I always tell Hayes, we just gotta keep grinding. I looked at him and I said, just keep grinding, you'll figure it out. And he did. And he kind of turned it around somewhat, but well, he was struggling there on the first 9 or 10 holes.
No, I also have to give Austin Hayes credit. Nobody takes better care of their clubs than he does. If you've played golf with Austin Hayes, you would know that he has a gold wedge set.
I did not know that until I played with him. I was like, who has a gold wedge out here? And it was him.
So he loves those wedges so much, and he is so determined to keep them clean that he refuses to touch earth with them. I don't know. I mean, he's probably swung at 56 about 250 times, and he may have touched grass about 15. So I will give him credit for the determination of keeping those things in pristine condition, even though the bottom of them's a little wore out.
I can see that. Well, it was a fun trip. I think we're probably going to go back to that area next year. We're already planning it. So, as always, it was great to get over there and see everybody and hang out for a few days, get away from real life for a little bit as much as we could, and have a good time with the boys. Harb?
It was a great time.
Great time.
By the way, shout out to Hanser House.
Oh, yes. I forgot to bring this up.
Shout out to the Hanser House restaurant in Pawleys Island. They not only did they put up with us, they were extremely good to us. Part of our group went there 3 nights. It was within walking distance of our condo, so I put 2 and 2 together on that one. Part of us went 3 days or 3 nights that week, but all of us went 2 nights. And staff was awesome. Management was awesome. There was a point Saturday night where I thought we were going to get asked to leave, and then the owner, general manager, whatever she was, she actually ended up sitting down and hanging out with us, and she thought we were a hoot. So that was a nice little turn of events. They were great to us. I highly recommend going there.
Did you notice when we left and we're walking back toward the hotel, they came out and watched us leave?
No,
I turned around for some reason, and there was 3 of them back there. You could hear them laughing and looking at us, and they were probably like, "What in the world was that?" But they were like you said, they loved it. They were more than happy to have us.
We had the same server all 3 nights,
Yes,
so she knew what she was getting herself into.
yes, and
And
she was a good sport.
her and Ricky were going at it.
Yeah, and then the other two little girls that came around, they were getting it too. So it was great. It was fantastic. That was the most fun part of the trip, to be honest, was going to the Hanser house.
It really was. But seriously, shout out to them. If you ever find yourself in Polly's Island, go there. Food's incredible. Service was awesome. I have nothing but good things to say about that.
Yeah, it was really good food.
Yeah, it's awesome food.
I got the shrimp fettuccine on Friday night, and then on Saturday night I got I guess it was like pick two sampler. I got the um, firetail shrimp, I think, and the golly, I can't remember what else. Whatever it was great. It was
I got some
fantastic.
black. I got some black and grouper one of the nights. That was one of the best seafood meals I've ever had in my life. So yeah, go check them out if you're in the area.
I'm sure we'll be back next year if it's open. I hope they're still there. I hope it's the same people when we go back.
I would say we paid their rent for a couple months or their lease.
Yeah.
I'm not renting their lease.
Yeah, we've kept them afloat for a little bit at least. So
Yeah, if they were struggling at all, which I doubt they were, it was a fine establishment. But I think we helped them out for a little bit.
the one waitress, I don't know if you heard her or not. I don't remember what was said, but she said, "quote Oh, you all are bad."
Yeah, that's putting it lightly.
That's an understatement there. But we'll get ready for next year. It's less than 365 days away, so we're already counting down.
Counting it down.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody listening. Got a little more long-winded than we thought, but appreciate once again Tyler Myatt coming on, Tennessee's newest baseball commitment. Looking forward to following him during his career at Tennessee. We'll try to keep in touch with him as he goes along. Tennessee at Arkansas this weekend. They start on Saturday. I think Saturday at 5 o'clock Eastern, Sunday 3 o'clock Eastern, and then if they have to play, I don't know what time it'll be Monday. But tune in and watch that. Must see TV anytime Tennessee and Arkansas get together in baseball. Remember, if you're listening to us, we have a YouTube channel. You can go on there and watch any of our past episodes over the years. Just get on youtube.com, look up section YY8. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can find us if you're driving in your truck for work or going out of town on a golf trip or vacation or whatever, pull us up on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, anywhere. Just search us, Google us, web search, whatever you want to do. We're on there. Also, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Look us up on there. So, Harbin, anything before we go?
JWTDS.
Just win the dang series.
Yep, that's right.
There we go.
Crank the Hogs.
Crank the Hogs. Beat them. Beat the Hogs. All right. I'm Negative Niece for Harbin. Appreciate everybody listening. You've been listening to the Section YY8 podcast.